Hello and welcome back to my stupid little light. Today I want to talk about BPD, borderline personality disorder, also known as emotional dysregulation disorder, which I prefer that name because that's exactly what it is. We can't regulate our emotional responses to things. I wanted to talk a little bit about BPD and relationship, why that is such a struggle for people with BPD, why we are addicted to relationship. Well, the why of that might be hard to nail down, but I wanted to talk a little bit about it. As you can see, I'm in my beautiful Airbnb in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. The reason I want to talk about this is because I recently posted a travel vlog, driving through the mountains with some lo-fi, one of this chill lo-fi vlog. There was a bit of a miscommunication with my editor. I had a moment in there, to me is super embarrassing because I had a BPD explosion in the video, but it was a happy BPD explosion. And most people, when they think about BPD explosions, well, just always anger, the angry explosions, but we also explode with every other emotion we feel. And I had a happy BPD explosion when I saw the elk. Drove by a herd of elk. I was so excited to have gotten them on camera because I don't know how many times I'm going to be doing that drive again. I really want to get a bunch of the wildlife on camera so we can do a compilation of mountain wildlife I've seen. I overreacted. It was extremely hyperbolic. I went a little nuts. This is a good kind of thing to keep in to showcase BPD. Yes, it's embarrassing, but it's real. It's real BPDs. I've seen elk a million times in my life. I grew up in Alberta. I've driven those mountains a bunch. I've seen so many elk, but I was so excited to get it on camera, I just couldn't contain myself. It's embarrassing. That's BPD. People think that we are all anger, lashing out and whatnot, but it's also joy and happiness that we feel in extremes. I don't actually know to feel a normal level of happy or excited. I don't know. I only know BPD levels. From how it's described, BPD happiness is the same as somebody else's ecstatic or absolute joy. So every time I get a little bit happy over something, fucking ecstatic. And that's addicting because every other emotion we feel is pretty negative. When we feel sadness, we're crushed. It's full-blown depressive episode, crushed. And when we feel angry, we're ready to do a heckin' stab. We're angry, violently angry. There is no in-between for any of these emotions. When it comes to relationships, this makes us very toxic because we get extremely attached, right? If we have something that's filling us with any sense of joy or happiness, that's amplified by tenfold of what you might be feeling as the other person in that relationship. If you are a partner to somebody with BPD or you're interested in somebody with BPD, be aware of these things. It's not actually love bombing in the manipulation tactic. We are not trying to manipulate you. We fall in love that fast and that hard. We can't help it. Imagine that every time your partner gave you the slightest bit of excitement or happiness and that was turned up to just joy, the highest level of excitement, the most exciting thing you've ever done in your life, and you've been looking forward to it like a concert or a vacation. Every time your partner does something to make you happy, yeah, we get hella attached. Yeah, we fall in love super fast. This is real us. Our emotions are really what we're feeling at that time. That becomes a really big problem if you're dating somebody with BPD who has anger issues, which I do. If you piss me off, it's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10. I'm so angry. I mean, I am a violent person. I like getting in fights with street harassers and people who deserve to be punched, but I don't get in fights with my loved ones. I don't get in physical altercations with people I'm dating. Every emotion is going to be dialed up. Now, that's going to make someone with BPD very exciting to be with because you take them out to do something and they're super hyperbolic and so excited and they might be really energetic and you're like, oh wow, this person's super fun. And then a few weeks later, suddenly they're so sad that they want to die because something happened that wouldn't impact you that way. And maybe that gives you some pause, or maybe that's also part of your brain that's like, oh, they need help. I can also take care of them. And you get looped in and then you see the anger. Not everybody with BPD has the anger button. So it's not like an all-encompassing experience. Everybody with BPD is exactly like this. We are all very different. We're much more likely to be manipulated than we are to do the manipulating. We're pretty easy to manipulate because we fall in love so much and we care so much and we have attachment issues, right? We don't like letting go of anything. Now, this also makes us super sentimental. I get the same attachment to things, to places, to experiences. I'm currently in the process of some pretty big life changes, and I'm I'm grieving experiences I won't be able to have again because of them. And what it should be, instead of that, is excitement that I had those experiences. It's grieving the inability to do everything, and that's impossible. Like, you move to a completely different province like I did. I grieved this, like, oh, I'm gonna miss walking my dog every day along the river. Like the last walk I did with her along the river in Calgary before moving, I was so hurt by this. Like, I'm living in Vancouver. There's gonna be much more beautiful walks, and there are, and the walk we do in Vancouver is incredibly more beautiful than the walk we were doing every day in Calgary, but I'm still grieving that because I want to do both. And the truth is, I've been back to Calgary to visit like quite a few times, and I've taken my dog for walks along the river. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is not gone. I'm heading back to Calgary today, and we're gonna do walks along the river every morning because we can, okay? Like, brain, let go of things. Can't. That's much worse for relationships. Getting broken up with as somebody with BPD when you didn't want that, you know, when you wanted to hold on to the relationship, is traumatizing. And breaking up with people is next to impossible. Unless you actually didn't love them, you didn't have that BPD attachment to them, and it ended up being like a situationship. Breaking up with somebody is horrific. There are people with BPD who find that easier because when they go into the low, they find it easy to self-sabotage and cut those connections, which is also very toxic. You know, that's not a good thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. There are people who can do that. When they're in a BPD low, they're able to cut those relationships. I'm not. I have a very, very hard time letting go. Even if I know it's what I want and I know it's what we need, it breaks me because I'm so scared of losing that. I just want to hold on with all that I am to this thing, even if it's toxic. It's not making me happy. I find it really, really hard to do the breaking up myself, but it can be spiraling to a degree that most people don't understand, because breakups are part of life. And I know there is kind of a joke about people who can't handle breakups and they turn suicidal, right? And that's supposed to be a thing that you don't understand, and that's how you feel like your life is ending when you're in your teens, and then as you start to date people, you're like, my life isn't ending, this is gonna be fine. But somebody with BPD, they will always feel like their life is ending and their world is ending when a relationship with somebody they love, even if it was toxic. I'm very, very lucky. I understand. I am extremely, extremely self-aware. A lot of people with BPD are not, and so their struggle is tenfold my struggle, because even though I'm feeling that emotion, that like, oh, my whole world is ending, I can check myself. I can say, you have BPD. These emotions are probably hyperbolic. You feel them, but you have BPD. And I can use that to check myself with a lot of my emotions, except anger, because anger is so like, right now, right? So there's no time to think through it. It's so strong. But sad, I can check myself with that. Happy, I don't want to, because feeling joy is wonderful. So I probably should check myself with that one once in a while and be like, this is an abnormal amount of joy you're feeling at seeing some elk on the side of the road. Brain. BPD also comes with depressive disorders, anxiety disorders. I've got ADHD with mine, which is a very interesting thing to have, because BPD being a personality disorder, being so encompassing, right? My brain functions so differently from how other people's brains function that I do not actually know, and I probably never will, whether I have ADHD or whether my BPD presents ADHD symptoms. I'm extremely loving. I'm extremely thoughtful. I will always put your needs above mine. I will always self-sacrifice to do things for you. I will buy you things, but also I expect a lot. I don't expect you to do a lot. I expect you to understand a lot. That's my expectation. In BPD, it's called splitting. I don't like that term. I think it's a stupid term. It doesn't make any sense. It's a dumb word that doesn't make sense in my brain for the situation. But basically, I love you, I hate you to the same person, right? That's BPD splitting. You can put somebody on a pedestal too much, right? If you love them so all-encompassingly and you haven't even really got to know them yet, you're really putting them on a pedestal. And then when they show reality of who they are, they show any sort of issues they have, or they just don't quite react in that perfect way that you were hoping they would or expected them to, that comes crashing down, right? So when somebody lets us down, we are extremely hurt by that, because we are expecting them to know better or to not want to let us down, you know, especially because we are so self-sacrificing. We kind of hope that you would be the same for us, and that's not going to be possible. If you don't have BPD, you're not going to be able to match us in that way. And then again, two people with BPD dating might be wonderful, but it might be very bad. So I don't know if I would recommend that. This is why we get so disappointed. If you react in a way that hurts our feelings or in a way that's thoughtless and do something and we're crushed by that. That's how hurt we are. And you might have said an offhand comment because you're in a bad mood, or you might have just been not paying attention to us because you're distracted or tired or whatnot, and it hurts our feelings and we're crushed. And then you go, whoa, what the fuck? This is an extreme reaction. I didn't think I did anything that bad. But you did. To us. That's the issue. We're on different wavelengths, and unless you learn to match the wavelength of the person with BPD, not in your reactions, but in being able to read it and understand it, you will always just exist in different universes from each other. You'll never meet. So you have to realize that when you do something like this, when we put so much thought and emphasis into every word you say, into the inflection of it, we're really trying to learn who you are and listen to you and pay attention and find out exactly what you like and exactly what you love. And you show us that you not only haven't been doing the same for us, but kind of it feels like you don't care to enough. It's crushing because we've put in so much to you. These are just a couple of the things I wanted to talk about when it comes to BPD and being super hyperbolic with emotions and how that can be really, really tough in relationships. There is so much more about this to cover, so you might get a better understanding because it's tough from both sides. I wouldn't say any of my exes said I was easy to date, except one of them who, in hindsight, was extremely emotionally unavailable and didn't feel emotions like a normal person, and so we had a very smooth relationship where we never fought about anything. In hindsight, I can see he was extremely selfish and we never fought because I always did what he wanted to do. So of course we never fought, and that's the only stable relationship I had, whereas now, many years later, I can look back at it and be like, oh, that wasn't good. I loved him. He didn't love me because he doesn't feel love. He doesn't feel it like that. Not even like a normal person way. He just doesn't. And he thinks he does. He doesn't. And other than that, I don't think any of my exes would say I was easy to be with. Which is very funny because as somebody with BPD, we know, we've heard that a million times. They don't understand us. We're wearing our heart on our fucking sleeve, bro. We're telling you exactly how we feel. We're showing you exactly how we feel. And they're like, oh, I don't understand you. No, I'm telling you what I need and what I want and what I feel. You don't understand why I feel that way. That's what's bothering you. Not everyone with BPD, let me clarify. I understand that there is a large group of people with BPD who morph your personality into someone else. And they'll try to morph into this perfect version of what they think that person wants, just in order to not be left. It's an attachment issue. Now, I know there's a ton of people with BPD who do that. None of the people I have met with BPD do. We're all just extremely ourselves. So there's two different flavors of BPD when it comes to that. You either are so completely and extremely who you are that you could not change that no matter how hard you tried, or you morph into the other person, you mirror it, and you showcase this personality that you think is what they want, or that they've said is what they want. People like me, we're exactly who we are, and strong personality, and sure of ourselves, and sure of who we are and what we want in life, that if you say, oh, I don't understand you, it's kind of like, but do you not understand anything? Because nobody could be more clear than me in the things I like. It just might seem erratic. It might seem like the things I like or the things that make me super hyperbolic in one way or another are so random that they're like, what the fuck? I can't read you. I get so fucking excited to drink coffee. I love coffee so much. But if you put sugar in this and give it to me, I'm gonna be like, no. And it might even take my mood right from ecstatic to make me another one. And I had this issue happen in Vancouver a little while ago. A friend of mine took me out to a restaurant. He's my restaurant buddy. I usually trust his judgment. Took me out to a breakfast restaurant. I was so excited to go have a good restaurant experience with him. And it turns out the restaurant he took me to has just shit food. You go there for the insane decor. It's fucking insane. The food was horrendous. I couldn't eat it. It was bad enough that I'm not gonna eat that. So be aware if you go there. Horrific food, dirt cheap. I think you can get eggs and bacon for $3. Dirt cheap. I ain't eating it. And that crushed me so much that I cried in his car on the way back because I had this expectation we don't get to see each other often for really nice time and good food, and I was hungry. It was just crushing. Breakfast is my favorite meal. He works evenings. We always go out for brunch and breakfast. Why would you take me to a place where I'm not even going to be able to eat? The food is so bad that I'm not going to eat. So disappointing that I cried in his car. And I understand for a lot of people, what I'm saying is so hyperbolic. They're like, you cried over a bad breakfast, let's just go get another breakfast. But it ruined the time I was spending with this person who's one of my favorite people. And as BPD, FP, favorite people. We put the world into them, and our time with them means everything to us. And I have some FPs. And I'm actually going to see one of my FPs right now. I should really pack up and get out of this Airbnb. That's it for our little rant about the hyperbolic tendencies of BPD. So anyway, cheers.